So there's another. Oh, I have two scrapers, good ones. See, guys, if you're anything like me, you get to where you just collect. You collect 3, 4, 2, 3, 4 of everything. So what we got to before here with this saw. See what we ran into here. We're going to look at something here. I want you guys to look at it with me. And I do see, now what I'm thinking here is these seals were good. This one has red on it. So this base, the bearings are good on this crank. The bearings are pretty shot over here. But these seals are good. So I have the blue steel OEM seals are much better than the ones on here. You can tell right away. And what's weird here, these seals look smaller. You see that? If I took calipers and measured that, I bet engine dynamics 101. I don't know where that bottom pan went for this. I would like to find it. Oh, here she is. Okay, so it's evident to me that there was a little tiny bit of gasket material in the seal and around the rubber seal and its seat. Whoever sealed this did a pretty good job way back in the day. Apparently this was a reseal job because usually from the factory these come with blue or gray. Sometimes black is the color that they use. Got these nifty cheapy Harbor Freight calipers. So we're going to let's calibrate our seal without squishing it too much. Right, so 077. These calipers are not super precise, but they will do the job. 077. Before I go pulling seals off, 075, 076. So that's not good. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna work. 076, 077, 076, 078, 077. Let's go millimeters. 19.4 millimeter. That's more precise than 077. 77 thousandths. Is that it? 9. No, it's 9.6 centimeter. Sorry. Centimeter. 9.2, 9.3, 9.3, 9.3 millimeter or centimeter. So these are smaller seals. We want the bigger seal for the 9.6. We want the bigger seal. We don't want to go with the original seals. So 9.2 to 9.6. There's a lot of variables here, and these are not very precise, but it's given me a read of two completely different sides on the seal. So that's important to know. What I had stated before in all this was that usually you don't need to seal. Usually you don't need to seal your crank seal seats. Usually this channel is enough to squish that base gasket material. We'll call it a base gasket. We're making a gasket here. We're making a base gasket. Now, and what I think happened in the factory, unfortunately, what they did was they put this stuff on wet. And the other thing is looking inside of this jug, you have there's rub marks. There's actual, like, burring or abrasion, looks like. It's just, to me, it's because the hone, the bore of the jug itself is not clean. It wasn't a very good job. You see it's messy. If you look inside an OEM jug, even a worn out one, it's going to be a lot cleaner look. If you look at a higher quality piston or jug cylinder, we're looking right down in there. I don't know if that's showing well in this light. It looks like it is. You see it's a lot better. You see it's a lot shinier, it's a lot smoother. You don't see a lot of scratches going across this way. You don't see a whole lot. I mean, piston rub, ring rub or piston rub or whatever you want to call it, that's a blemish. That's probably from removal. That's a dent in the nickel sill. But you see, these are a lot cleaner, even a damaged one. All these scratchy marks that go left and right, or that go across the horizontal scratchy marks on there. Not a real clean machining job, but I mean, this was honed really fast, and it was honed with a really large grit, really coarse grit, we might want to say, of stone or whatever they honed the jug with. Not the highest precision. So what I'm finding here already, as I scrape this gasket material, there's an awful lot. That in itself, you see, and there's a lot. That's about as much as you need besides the bead. But you see, I just took a layer off, and there's another layer. That little bit, that's an awfully thick. That's an awful lot of gasket. That's the problem when you do it wet, because they probably did it wet. They probably put it back together while it was wet, and they stopped tightening once it looked like the crank seals were squishing a little bit. And there's tricks. It just takes practice. There's a lot of practice you want to have. I mean, to do it right. You'll learn the first time. When you're tightening down, what you do is you put your gasket material on the base of the jug. There's so much here. It's so thick. They just didn't squish it down, and then when I went and I tightened, there was so much in there blocking it. It never allowed me to squish the crank seals down. So I may need to get a new razor. The other thing is this cheapy Chinese base jug, I don't think it's flat. That could be another issue. We just dropped this razor blade, so I think we're going to get another one. A brand new one. I don't know where my little pliers went. Needly nosity pliers. Alright, well, I'm not sure exactly how these, oh, there you go. Well, we don't need that. That's done. Needle nose pliers. Now you can put base gasket back on here and get away with it, most likely, without flattening the base of this piston, or the base of this jug, this base of the cylinder. Sorry, not base of the piston. That's the piston, this is the jug. This thing here is the piston, right? We all know that. So this is a brand new razor blade, and I'm not pressing down, and it is not taking any more gasket material with it. So that's telling me right there, that's another problem with why we were not getting full vacuum seal on the motor. The base of our jug is not flat. So that's telling me that maybe, most likely, the base of the belly pan or the crankcase pan, the bottom of the case, that base is not flat either. So I'm going to have to take, the only way to really flatten it by hand, they should be machined. You could do it on a lathe. You have to have a fitting that's the diameter of your piston. You put it here on a lathe and you slowly turn the bottom of your base. And we're going minimal because we cannot deck this much at all. We're only trying to flatten it. We're only trying to get rid of all of this base material, gasket material. The razor blade's going to be flat right out of the box. Razor blade should be flat, brand new, always. That should tell you everything. If it's not scraping that mostly clean, if it's leaving a lot of material behind, then most likely your edges around the base of your jug are burred. And you see where I scraped, you see the flash. I'm already taking edge off of there with the razor blade. It's already chewing up the razor blade and dulling it. So that's telling me that these, of course, the machining on these, there is no machining on them. They should, when they take them out of the mold, they should be machining these down, planing this surface. Any good motor company You see how smooth that is and how easily that scrapes and it doesn't catch the edges. You don't see a lot of flash there. If I scrape that, it shows that I just scraped the entire surface, right? So this is another reason that we did not get good seal, because the bottom of our jug is essentially warped or misshapen. Because right now, I mean, I should be getting it flat. I should be getting it mostly flat with a brand new razor blade out of the package. The brand new razor blade should not be catching and snagging on it every time I go over it, but it is. So there's a lot of pitfalls here to these Chinese motors, jugs. This here, I bet if we took this, I bet this one is pretty good. I'm gonna guess this side is pretty good. But I'm gonna flatten both sides. Yeah, this isn't bad. I mean, it's showing already. If I just sit here and lightly scrape, I can see where I'm scraping away the wet from the gasoline, from the fuel. And it's pretty much scraping the entire surface, most of it. There's little burrs here, I can feel them. So that's important. The only real thing to do there to get it flat is I have to get a piece of metal or a piece of glass, like a real flat piece of metal or a piece of glass. Glass is the best. If you can get a thick piece of glass and do it, which I have to look for now, that would be the best way. Alright, so this is Redneck Ability 1 and 101 flattening. This is really dangerous right now. This is a thin, it's the only glass I could find. It's an old picture glass. I could shatter it right now and put it right through my hand. So it's really thin. It's got there's a big crack on the end here. Nervous. Nervous is a good word for it. Anything that you can find that's really flat, a stone, a piece of granite countertop is actually really good, because then if you have to press down, you can press down. So the thing here is, I want to put this flat. I don't want any gaps with it, whatever it's placed on. I'm going to try to find a piece of flat. I just wanted to show you guys these are my materials for the next phase of things. I have a spray adhesive for, this is for gold leaf. You can get it at an art supply store. Easy enough, right? Cheap enough, easy enough. Go buy the little kit from an art supply store. Now I gotta find something smooth to put that on. Alright, so this is not the absolute most ideal thing for this, but it might work. We're gonna just take it in stride, one bit at a time. This is the back of one of my carving platens. It's fairly what you don't want, because you don't want the glass breaking while you're doing this. It feels firm enough. I mean, I'm not going to be pressing down real hard. I just want it, I don't want a lot of voids in the glass. So, we have that. We don't really want that sliding around. So we're going to do all this, right? I mean, this is quick and dirty. This is not, I would actually prefer to take more time doing this. If I had more time. but I don't. So you spray this down, and then you got to let it set up for a bit. It's got to just sit there. And you got to find yourself something to do while you let it set up. So that's going to get real sticky. And as soon as I stick it to that glass, it's never going to come off again. It's going to be stuck on there. I would suggest using water, or you can use WD-40 for this, or a very lightweight oil. You want some kind of, you want it to stay wet. It's a wet sanding type of abrasive. The abrasive sheets themselves, they're made to be wet. They're made to have water on them, or any kind of oil or cutting agent. You don't need like real heavy solvent. I would just say, water's probably good enough, or WD-40, whatever you have in the shop. WD-40 essentially is a water removal agent. So see, that's already starting to get sticky. It's sticking to my finger. And there's actually enough, just the overspray on this, the little dots is enough. I think it's enough to cleat it down to our board. And the more time you give this to set up, the better luck you're going to have with it. So I'm kind of rushing it right now just to show you guys how I would do it and how I would get started doing it. And like I said, you could be here for hours doing this once you get started. And you can actually, if your paper overlaps your glass, you don't want to get adhesive on your grip. That's the main thing. You don't want to get any adhesive on there. It's going to screw up the entire operation. Or bugs. You saw that moth just flying there. So I'm just going to use this to tack that down. I could put staples in it. I could screw it down, whatever. I don't want the glass sliding around while I'm doing this. So that's as flat as I can get it. If you can get a thicker piece of glass, then definitely you're going to be in better shape. I used to have big thick table glass that I would use for this type of application. So this is going to be good enough, I guess. It's not really going to slide around. It doesn't look like it's going to slide around a lot. So essentially what we're doing we want to find a stapler. Staple gun or stapler? Do I have one? Do I have something around? So we want to secure the glass, but we don't want to shatter the glass. And you want to secure the glass, but you don't want to shatter the glass. And the thing is here, with the more support and backing you can have for this setup, the better. The more firmly you can anchor everything in and set everything in, the better the whole process is going to work out for you. So the more time that you take setting this up, and there it's already lifting the glass. That's very bad. I don't want them lifting the glass. I just want them holding the glass in place for me just enough so it doesn't slop around and end up breaking on me. And here too, you could shatter the glass doing this. So every step, see that lifting it? You don't want that. Don't want it lifting. Anytime you're lifting the glass, you're putting a void underneath it. You're jamming wood chips underneath it, splinters, sawdust, what have you. That's not good. We need to get this to stay. I guess that's going to be good enough. Solid enough. I'm not going to go crazy on it. I'm not going to sit here and overwork it. I'm not trying to get a perfect motor out of this deal right now. I'm just trying to get something that works. So you can take a normal bottle of water. Now you have your bottle of water, and you can sprinkle some water on there, and you can add WD-40 if you think it's going to help you a little bit. And now you just set her flat and just go very slow, and you can actually see where the base, this is as flat as I could get it. This is where ideally a thicker piece of glass is the better option. Now what's going to show from that is, as you're doing this repeatedly, you want to clean off every time after, and you're going to start seeing flesh. You're going to start seeing where you're cleaning it. You see where it's getting clean and where it's not. That's where it's not flat, where it's dull. You see all this here where it's shiny? All your shine is where it's not dull. So this is where maybe WD-40. Now we're getting experimental because we're trying to get it to hone clean. If I have WD-40, I thought I had a can of it here somewhere. I guess I don't. So that's a problem. That is an issue because water in itself is not working in this situation because the base gasket is not, I did not spray this, I did not clean this with anything first. Maybe if I do that, if I just get out the carb cleaner here, little spritzer, if I got one that works. Brake cleaner works too. You don't need a lot, you just need to dry the sucker out. You can even put it on there, wet brake clean to water, and see what happens. See if that doesn't help you hone it a little better. back and forth until it's all shiny. And you just keep even pressure on it. You don't want... The easiest way to keep even pressure on it is put your fingers over the bolt holes and use both hands. Now there's different tricks to this. A lot of people are going to tell you different things. This is my trick, or it's not a trick. This is my method of doing it. This is my thought process with doing it. So wipe it off. And already I can see it's getting a lot cleaner. So see there, it's not, this is uneven too. That's telling me that this wasn't flat. Right? Now we're starting to get to our corners and our edges. Now we're starting to get shine in there. So this, hopefully this will give me a really good seal. I'm just touching. You want to touch that and make sure that your contact is still good with it. If I can find, there it is. Hey. Now, WD-40 is a water remover. It's also a really good cutting agent for doing things like this or drilling. It's a good lubricant, good coolant. You can start going faster once you feel more comfortable with where you're at with it. Hold it, try to get it as flat as you can and make sure that every corner you're touching. And you don't have to press down really. If you're pressing down really hard, you're going to end up being off. You're going to end up honing your metal crooked. You don't need to be a machinist to do this. You don't need machining equipment. It's already cleaning up much better. I should have done this when I first got the saw. I should have deburred it. Like this is basically deburring it right now. It's just pushing, it's flattening this out as best possible to take a good seal. Now the other thing that I want to do here after I get this cleaned, personally, I want to scrape the groove out. You don't have to go that ridiculous. You can just spray the heck out of it with a carb cleaner and then air, use air, compressed air to blast it clean. You just want, your abrasive paper. See, now it's starting to push harder. You want your abrasive paper nice and, see how as I slide that back and forth, all of this, if I do that, there's no bumps, nothing is sticking here to the abrasive. That's telling me that I have good lubrication. See, it's getting cleaner every time I do it. And cleaning, you could use gasoline for this. I mean, that's another gasoline with the two-stroke oil in it is going to be a good lubricant. And that's what the metal is touching, is working with the whole time. So once you get going and you get comfortable with this, you can feel whether you're going to break that glass or not. And again, I'm just doing this to clean it. I'm not trying to modify the saw. I'm not trying to get any more squish out of the saw. I'm just trying to clean it. So I'm going as gently as I can. And we're almost there. We're really almost there. Because here, there's the only parts I've got flesh, and it's in the middle of the hardest, or it's in the middle of the plenum, or the base. We'll call it the plenum. I like calling these the plenum. And you can take your fingers too, wipe on that and see if you're getting any more relief. But you see the shine on it. The shine is definitely was not there when this came out of the factory. So we are removing some material, very, very tiny amount. I mean, my hope is that I'm not going to have to remove too much material on either end, and even just this little bit of honing the bases is going to make those seals really tight. The other problem with those seals is it's not good rubber. If you look at the blue ones versus those, there's definitely a quality difference. The blue ones are precision made. Those black seals are just a generic. I think they're a generic crank, or they're a generic rubber grommet for a lot of different things, and they happen to fit them for a crank seal. So this is beautiful. Now I'm going to leave this as it is. I'm very happy with the results of this now. There's still a little bit left in the back here, but you see that's dead clean. That's really clean there. That looks really good. So now I can turn the entire thing. I had this back here. Now I can put it up here and see if that helps. I'm not saying that everything is perfectly flat here. What's happening is, even with my hands, I could be putting more pressure here than on my thumbs. That could be why it's different one end to the other. It could be because that corner is more warped and not flat than the rest of them. And I don't want to press down harder on that corner. I still want to press down equally on everything, because if I just focus on this corner, trying to get that out, now I'm warping the entire thing from here to here. You got my knowledge what I'm dropping there? So stay even the whole time. Don't try to buff out one corner on its own, because then you're going to send the whole thing crooked. And I've done this with OEM motors too. This is not the first time I've done this with any kind of motor fittings. And it's coming cleaner very slowly. That's almost acceptable. And you see, as I wipe this, everything is actually a lot cleaner than the dirty old oil t-shirt is wiping it. But the oil t-shirt is getting it clean enough so I can see what the heck I'm doing. So this is something, as I'm driving around, as I'm doing stuff, these are things that I'm thinking, like, maybe I need to hold that sucker down. And see here, we're getting some aluminum material in there. So even you can take your finger and go across, and there we're getting little bits and grubby stuff. There we're getting bits of grubby stuff, so I would almost say spray it off. This is where compressed air will help you, because I'm picking up dirt on my finger, I'm picking up crud. There's crud from here, there's crud, it could be anywhere. And that, when you push this, you want it dead flat, and you don't want to feel any of that crud getting in there. You want to push that crud off to the edges. You don't want that crud disrupting the job you're doing. If you see a line, like I have here, you find out why. Where is that line? Is there crud? There's crud in the groove here. So I'm going to stop on this one. I'm going to leave this one for good for now. I like it. I'm happy with it. Spray it down good. Give it the old carb cleaner treatment. Give it a little carb cleaner, brake cleaner. Let it dry overnight. We're gonna, as we're doing this process, this is where, oh yeah, that really gets in there. Any cuts you have, this stuff is horrible. Well, it'll send you to the moon. You'll be jumping around, your finger, whatever you got it on will be burning. See how dirty? See the crud? All that little micro crud, bubbles, whatever, water, all kinds of stuff it's picking up. It's not going to be perfect unless you're actually in a machine shop, perfect environment. But man, I tell you what, that's 100% better than it was out of the box. It was warped as hell. So now I want to take the jug, the base to the jug, and I want to give that some passes. And this is going to, you want to remove all the rubber parts. Get all your rubber parts out of the way. Even with the saw body sitting there, I'm kind of risking it, spraying stuff. I'm getting the handle of my plastic tool with the carb cleaner. You pretty much don't want to do that. You got to be real careful here, pulling this guy off. You don't want any rubber or plastics. That's the old one, I don't care about that. We don't want any rubber or plastics getting exposed to our carb cleaner in great amounts. So we're going to move this just because I don't want to get carb cleaner all over that. We're going to move my tool, my ratchet, just because I don't want to get carb cleaner all over that. That'll weaken the tool, weaken the handle. A carb cleaner will destroy a tool handle. Now, this is what we're starting with. Okay, remember, this is what we got. We got all kinds of crudlies on there. So this is going to require a lot of work. And it may completely clog up this piece of paper. Again, corner to corner to corner. You're just slowly, you're letting the paper cut. You want the abrasive on the paper to cut through everything. If it starts clogging up, every time you pull the jug off, or every time you pull your metal off of there, you want to see a good imprint and fluids. You don't want to see, if you start seeing lines on that abrasive, then you've got to replace it. You've got to start over. Go get a new piece of glass. Already we're really getting rid of that quick. It's really working. You see how quick that's working? So more lube. Dilution is the process. We're cleaning here. We're not fine honing. I may, after this, I may set up another piece to fine hone it, or I may not. Now in my old shop, I had a separate place for doing this from where all the sawdust and the mess was in the shop. And you can go circles too. If you want to go circles, that might help things. It might help keep it more even. Sometimes circles is better. As long as you're pressing down on all of your corners. And again, we're not trying to remove a whole bunch of material on this and modify it. We're not trying to change the squish of the motor. So that's getting real shiny and real, there's a lot of material there. So I just take my finger and go back and forth on this to loosen it up again. It's just a process, and like I said, guys, this is not, I'm not doing this to perfection. This is a $50, $60 motor, right? This is cheapy cheap. You see the huge difference. Here, we have, no, that's not, it's just a streak. I thought we had a crack in it, and I would say, there, we got a serious casting problem. See, there's a bad casting. That's bad casting. Look at, if I wipe that, nothing happens there. See these spots? That's bad casting. That's bad casting. If I wipe that, nothing happens. So that's warpage. And that's, when I was putting that together, see, you can see pits all in here. It's bad casting. Really cheap Chinese stuff. Not cast very well. You can do it sideways with this one because your points are all even. It's not highly recommended. It's best if you do it front to back because then you're covering the span and you're keeping flat all the way across. You're keeping them matched up. And you're not deregulating the balance. You don't want to deregulate the balance of things. You want to try not to do that. It's looking really good, and it's feeling pretty good. I should have done this when I brought it home, when I pulled it out of the box first time. That's what I should have done. Now what's weird here is we're starting to get a streak in the middle. It's not really showing here, but it's because of bad casting. It's a little tiny bit off. I mean, you're talking thousandths of a millimeter. Microecology, whatever you might want to. See the spot? See where I'm not getting it? And you can look the scratches in it. If you actually look at it, the scratches are going this way, right? I want all the scratches. If you look across it, you see the sheen of it. You see the scratches. I've got scratches going this way, right there. That's warpage. That's bad casting. That's when they pulled it out of the casting and did their flattening, or I don't think they do flatten these at all. You want to be very careful on this glass. Do not hit your knuckles on there. That will rip your finger open, wide open, very quickly, and you'll be pretty much done at that point for the day. For a while until you fix that. Now it's really, the glass is starting to flop around an awful lot because these holes are coming looser. Don't know where my other screw went. I had another screw here. I'd go get another one, but I hate losing. It's not a problem to have that happen as long as you're staying flat and you're not pressing down real hard. It's getting pretty dry. I mean, it's not, you're seeing that it's wet, right? But the lube itself, it's getting full of aluminum. So that the best way to do this is actually to blow it off while you're doing it. It makes an absolute mess. And the thing about these cheapy motors, the casting, it's really soft. It's really soft metal. And it's really cheaply cast. So I think the problem that we're going to have with any of these cheap motors, cheap motor parts that I put in saws, is the casting is so bad on them that all it's going to take is one pit, one void, one weakness to cause the whole thing to blow apart and crack. Now if we take the light and we look on the light again, I've got marks going this way still from that first time that I ran it this way. I want all of my scratch marks going that way, and there's tons of them when I turn it. You see, as I turn it, we change, and we're trying to get rid of when I did that circle thing, when I did all that, we're trying to get rid of those. I don't think we will, but that's showing too how little we are removing, because I put those in and they're not gone yet, but I've actually cleaned this up a whole bit. All that we're really removing is the burrs and the garbage, the actual gasket material that was stuck in there in the pits. Now the other thing you can do, if you took this motor apart, is you could actually take both of these. If you heat up a pan, a stainless steel pan, and put a little oil in that pan, like you could do cooking oil, I guess. Just some kind of oil that's not going to burn off real quick and caramelize like butter. You could actually heat set these guys, put them in the pan. If the pan is flat, nice and flat, and it doesn't have to be real hot, because this is going to get hot. It's going to get, you're talking 200 degrees normally. A motor heat is in general 160, 200 degrees is normal motor heat. Now these seats are horrible. They're rough. If I put my finger in there, they are so rough. They're terrible. But I'm not going to mess with those. I don't want to get into that. That we'll just take up with sealant. We'll hope that it works. Now that that burns because I have little cuts in my hand. You see, this is nice and clean now. And just that little bit of time, not a whole lot of time there, I've really cleaned it up a lot. And even this t-shirt is alright. I got the lawn done. Now I'm choking and gagging on lawn clippings. So here we are. Pretty dry. Feels pretty good. And if I wipe it with my thumb, it can wipe off pretty easily. So we want to be careful. This is where we gotta be real careful with it. See, I would just rub that off with my thumb, but it is what it is. I think it's going to be all right. I'm hoping. Now, if this fails, because I got in a hurry, I didn't fully clean everything like I should have. But I think we're going to be fine. I want to check inside the jug. make sure that I don't have a bunch of gunge in there. Because the last thing I want to do is jam the piston in there. And push a bunch of thing I want to do is jam the piston in there, push a bunch of crap in there with it that then is going to be hard to get out of the motor. Now if I weren't in a hurry to do this, what I would do is rag the inside of the piston out with a clean rag, which I don't have. I'm going to sauce the piston up a little bit with some 2-stroke oil, because 2-stroke oil is what goes in the gas when you're add mixing. Now I'm not gonna change the rings out. I wanted to change the rings on this because I wasn't happy with these rings. These rings look kind of junky to me. They don't look real high quality. The only thing I do want to do, there's a little tab right there, a little pin in the piston that you want your ring to go there when you're pushing it in to the motor. Now I'm assuming. So we want to make sure. I was going to use the OEM bearings and crank and connector rod, but these bearings are pretty shot, and I don't want to press them out. There's no reason to. So you want a little bit of oil on everything, because that's going to give you a good seal. I put oil on the bearings, I put the oil on the seals, just a little bit. Rub your finger on it. The smoother everything goes together, the better chances you are of getting a really good tight seal. So, easiest thing to do, our decompression valve goes on the same side as the clutch. The threads are the side with the clutch. This tapered side with the keyway is our flywheel. So you want to make sure them pins are lined up as best possible. And you can just start sliding it on. You'll see how easy this goes in. Usually, just a little bit of very gentle persuasion, wiggling back and forth, and everything will compress and it'll go in. Nope, don't set that down on your gasket material. Don't do that, Mark. Now, if you have to decompress it with your hand a little bit, you can do that, but getting your fingers up in the jug there. See, this is tapered. The bottom of the jug is tapered, so you should be able to just push it in all in one movement. You can kind of feel it as you play it around. There we go. I'm feeling it now. I'm feeling it start to, and sometimes you can even see where it's not exactly pushing in, or you can feel it. There are tricks to this. You can use a piece of paper sometimes. Sometimes you can use milk carton. Milk carton is probably plastic milk carton, you wrap it around it, and then you pull it out as you slide the piston in. This is going in a bit tough, and I don't want to force it. And it could be just because they're not lining up. I may have to get a slider aid on here. Sometimes you have no choice. You have to call for help and use something to help you slide it in. Usually they just go right in. On all the steel saw ones, I've always gotten them to just go in. Unless it's like real super high compression. Oh, there we go, it went in. Alright, and that's why we want to make sure that we sauce that up real good, because when that goes in, it's going to go in. And it's going to want to go in pretty quick. So, I'm sorry if I'm yelling. I'm listening to music while I'm doing this because it's easier for me to concentrate and even talk to you guys while I'm doing this. So that looks all good. Get our seals seated in. You want to work your seals into the grooves. You see how it's not quite going in. But if I pull down on it, it sits in there real nice. So that's another thing with these aftermarket cheap Chinese. See, the seals don't actually sit straight, and that creates a lot of chaos with putting them in. You got to get them in there's a groove right there. There's on both sides. There's actually a notch that you want them sitting behind that notch when you push them in, or in front of that notch, either way you look at it. Now, after I put the belly pan on, I'm calling it a belly pan. Can I call it a belly pan? Does that offend you guys if I call it a belly pan? I don't really care if it does offend you. So see, now we're getting a lot of lift from the crank seals, which is good, because we're also getting good contact with our RTV. Now the problem with this is putting it back in the saw. I think I had to put it in the saw taken apart. I may have to. I'm going to pop the coil out. I should have just pulled it out anyway. Being lazy. Alright, so one container less on my bench right now. Let's get our glass out of the way. I thought it looked nice. That's why I left the glass there. I thought it was a cool look to have it there. We'll save that glass. We'll try to keep it as clean as we can, because we're going to have other assembly jobs. We want to get all the stuff off the bench that we don't need on the bench right now. And I want to get all the stuff on the bench that I need. Okay, so we're going to pop this guy out. All right. Put in our little star nut driver. I don't care what people call them. They'll say it's a Torx. It's Torx. I don't care. It's a star nut. That's what we always called them before you guys were building decks with this type of screws. We had them on our steel chainsaws. And they were called a star nut. They weren't called a Torx. Same thing. Same thing as all you new school constructioners, carpenters, whatever, I don't know. Whatever you want to call it. You carpenter guys. All you handyman special guys. You can do everything, right? I can weld, I can do masonry, I can do... Sorry, I'm being mean. I shouldn't pick on people. For it goes in one way. And as long as you know that it goes one way and you need the ground at the end of everything. It's just like plumbing. Air behind water. If you don't have air behind water, it's not going to vent, it's never going to drain. It's never going to flow. So this is the only reason I bought that Duke's assembled motor, because it came with the proper bolts for mounting the motor. Now, the fact that they claim, you're still getting bad feedback, I'm sorry to tell you, because people give me bad feedback on eBay or other things like Uber and Instacart. They give me bad feedback for doing my dang job because I actually did a good job. They just give you bad feedback to be negative. They just want to poo-poo on somebody's parade, but you know, my customer rating is so high, I can get a few bad seeds in the bunch. Here's the other beautiful thing about this situation. This came apart as soon as I undid the bolts, meaning that seal is crap. And there it is. Look at the seal. Look at the fluid on the seal. That's telling me that fluid was coming through that seal. It was leaking. It's on both sides of that. There's fuel sitting in the journal or in the slot, in the saddle, in the seat for the bearing seal. Everything in this thing is soaking wet with fuel. So there's what's wrong with it. I mean, even the pitting that I saw, oh, there is a pretty nasty burr in there. And the exhaust, or in the intake. Let's see if I can shine that one there. You see the bright light on the inside. There's scoring, and there's a huge burr right on the bottom of the intake port. So this jug actually looks better than that one does on the inside. But I know that there's pitting in here. I know that that's the wrong size, and these I couldn't get the one out of the one motor, so I don't really want to start tearing at two other motors. I don't see threads in there, so I'm assuming it's a heat up and freeze it out or whatever deal. So we're going to change the rings. We got her apart. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to see all this, and that's, you got to do this. You got to do this. And this is where I'm saying, where did I put my other, did you guys see where I put my other bolts? Because I want them all together. Are they in here? I'm excited because I take it apart and I see a lot of issues. Oh, there's 1, 2, 3. I'm just really picky about this because the OEM bolts, I want my 4 because this is the other thing, 2 different thread pitches. This is OEM steel. This is Duke's cheap crap manufacturer, whatever deal. These will not work with either of these 2 motors without potentially causing damage and stripping the hell out of them. There's my 4th bolt. All right. So now we're just gonna gut this thing 100%. There you guys get to see a saw being taken apart piece for piece. Now you see what I'm telling you when I explain a saw to you guys. I've done this 1,000 times. That's why I could do it in an hour or so while I was talking to you. If I wasn't talking to you guys and showing you guys stuff, messing with the phone and stopping, it's a half-hour job. But I see the other thing. There's really black in the back where I'm tipping it. If I bring it forward, it'll run down. You can see it's very dark. It's contaminated fuel. That's brand new jug, right? There's metal material in that or something in that. And I'm guessing that it's these cheap ass rings that they put in these saws, because these rings are black. The rings should not be black, right? Look at these rings. This is a good pair of rings. These are the rings that I use in all my saws religiously. These are tungsten steel, right? It's its own metal. It's its own kind of metal. Now, when you look on Duke's description, or the other cheap company's description of their rings, they say cast iron. You don't want cast iron, you want tungsten steel. This is tungsten steel. It's a dullish gray, really super dank metal, super hard, high res, super sharp, everything super about it. It's a super metal, okay? We use it for a lot of things. I use carbide chisels for breaking stone. The tips of the chisels are special made carbide tips. That's the same type of metal as tungsten, right? It's a super hard, but super pliable, super resilient. This, it feels cheap. It just feels like cheapy crap to me. Wrong metal, right? Right off the bat. I might even get a Metolius piston for this before putting it back together now, because I can't trust anything. Look at the difference. Look at the thickness of the ring. Look at the seat. It's a different. This is where I get upset. The thickness this way. This ring is thinner than this ring. You guys see that? That's garbage. That's complete garbage. I can put this ring over top of that one, even without taking the other one out of the package. The one behind it eclipses the one in front. Right? The one in front, you can still see the one behind it. It's bigger. It's fatter. That right there, it's the wrong freaking size. This is all wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I'm upset now. So, I'm having fun with this. I'm not really mad. I'm just like, I'm saying, I'm upset now because junk is junk, always going to be junk, and it's even more junk than the junk that we thought, because everything is wrong about it. And you can't sit and claim that a product is good. Everybody who's bought that product, all their reviews, oh, holy cow. I have never had that happen either, guys. All right, so there's... Just pulling that ring out, I completely snapped it in half. And when you look at the end of that ring, where it broke in half, holy, you saw that live. You saw it live here. The end of it, you can't really see it. The end of that, sorry there GoPro, I'm neglecting you. The end of that is all kernel, it's all pitted. It's really crappy metal. I can see how rough it is. And it's dented. It's like That's not flat. It's not square. It's not, there's nothing good about this. So not only did I just break this ring, pulling it off of the piston, brand new ring, I've never cracked a ring. This is awesome, guys, because now we're getting to the bottom of things. We're figuring out a lot about these stupid I'm not even going to save these. I'll frickin' hang it up, give it to my girlfriend to wear as an earring. I don't know. She'll be like, oh, it's so cool. I've never seen anything like. Don't care. Be careful. Don't push too hard on it. It'll break. You know. But look here, GoPro, YouTube, for the video. The thickness difference between the two rings is different. Now that's going to change. That's going to change what happens with the piston inside of the cylinder, right? I want these in there. These are going to take up that speed. It's going to be so tight. It's going to be so cool. As long as these rings are not too tall for that. See, the whole thing could be wrong. I may need to get another piston. I may need to get a whole other crank. I don't know. Now the problem is these wrist pins could be the different size that a Metolius would take, right? These ring seats could not accommodate. Maybe they don't accommodate these rings. The whole thing is out of whack. The fact that just the fact that when I split this motor apart, or when I pulled the bolts out, the motor just, so the seal is horrible. Dukes, I'm highly disappointed. I was really hoping, I had my hopes up for you, man, but kind of like, I will say it, kind of like some women that I've been in relationships. I had my hopes for you. You know, I gave you the benefit of the doubt, and I thought I could work on you and make you happy in your life, but apparently not. We found that out. I tried for years, and I'm persistent about it, and I tried even at my cost and my expense, putting myself in harm's way all the time for both of us. In more ways than just one. You done failed me. Sadly, we're through. You know what I mean? Like, this is that kind of... I feel that way right now with these companies. Like you, I'm so disappointed in you. I'm not even mad. I'm just disappointed. This I can't use because this nipple's too small. I'm only going by what I have here available. So we have to go back to this motor. We have to put those rings into this motor, which means this is the motor that in the original, this is the original motor that in the video that I'm making, I show how I basically have to hone the top and bottom of the motor down. Even this one doesn't look that pretty. It's casting. I'm talking about your base here. It should be machined. It should have lines and grooves in it. It should be flattened. It should be flat and checked. Neither one of these is. Maybe I need to get like 120 and actually rough this one up to get a better seal. Maybe I made it too shiny. But I did flatten this one. And there's a little bit in the corner. You see where the gasket seal is sticking there in that inside corner. That's a dip. That's some pitting within the... You see why this motor was leaking, because that seal was bad, not good too. These things are just junk. But my goal is to make one run. And look, this is what I'm talking about right here. Where the piston is rubbing inside of the... Why is the piston rubbing inside the motor? That's not good. That's the actual piston. So now I have... This sucks because now I have one motor that's getting rubbing issues. from the piston. Not good. But this motor has the right size vent nipple. I need that vent nipple or that vent hose on one of these motors working properly. This is those cheap crappy rings again. And when I hold all this in my hand, it's gritty as hell. It's like I'm holding, it's like I just dug a clam out of the dirt and opened it up. You know, it's like, it's all gritty. It's like an open clam on the beach, like not washed out. You just, if you dug a clam up, that's the only way I can explain it. The whole thing is full of grit, and it's motor material. It's ring material. It's garbage material. It's because of cheap, right? So when you guys go on eBay and you go, oh, yeah, I need to rebuild my 039 or 390, I'll just get one of these motors and I'll just slap in the motor, and hey, we hooked it up, and we learned by watching this guy's video how to hook them up, and or whatever. I've changed motors before. We hooked it up and it ran great, and all of a sudden, I may keep the rings that don't break just to keep them around, just for shits and giggles. Sorry to swear, but I'm dumbfounded by this cheapness, this lack of quality, lack of customer service, lack of conscientiousness. Used to never be this way, and I'm talking only 10, 15, 20 years ago. Hell, even 5 years ago, it seemed like people cared enough to like, oh, you got a bad product. Oh, we'll help you out. They started to not care when, what's his name, the last Democrat we had. But you see, just look how crappy the rings, they're garbage. Like, it's inconsistent wear on the ring. And the fact that it's wear that's wearing off a coating on the ring is actually a silverish color underneath. The hardening, the blackness is the actual hardening from the arsenic dip. I learned that because I know guys who work at a case hardening facility where they heat treat metal. And see, these rings don't come out of the piston very easily. But my whole thing is companies stopped caring about customers like, what, 10 or 12 years ago. That's when things started going downhill, right? When they were just like, oh, we don't have to wait, guys. It was like, guys, what are you doing? Like, shh. Hey, did you guys realize all these years that we've been caring about this? We don't have to care. You don't have to talk to him. You don't have to answer the phone. You don't have to warranty anything. Nobody's going to come after you. Cheap garbage. Out. I will save them. But you know what I mean? It's like it progressively became this, like, America screwing itself and not really caring that it was. And I'm not whining or complaining about that. I'm just saying, in general, the only thing you can do about it is to just be honest and forward, like, this company sucks, and put your review, and hey, you bought shit, they didn't respond, they didn't work with you on it, that's the truth. I don't care if they have 20 kids at home to feed. That's not my problem. It doesn't matter to me. But if they get a bad review, and I'll tell you this from working those the Instacart and all that, woo, they will call you. Why did you leave a bad review? Ooh. It asked me to leave stars for my experience, and it was a crappy experience. I wasn't leaving. They take it personal, and they're like, that was on me. You know it was on me. I'm like, No, it asked me, how was your eBay experience, or how was your Instacart experience with support? If it was bad, you're all getting bad. I don't care. Even if I got one good in there, it's not going to change how I'm going to rate the whole experience, because it was a crappy experience. I wasted my time. I got a headache from it now. I just smoked a pack of cigarettes after not smoking any cigarettes for over a year. Like, it had me worked up. Like, it had me sitting there. I was worked up because I couldn't do anything. These bearings feel... Oh, we're having fun today. We're going to try to get... We have the Chinese... This is the Chinese motor. Chinese short block motor. I ordered the whole motor because to get the original motor out, we had a lot of problems getting the old motor out of the saw. It basically had to destroy. You can see chisel marks there. I basically had to destroy the bottom and the top of the motor. Well, we're having fun here, guys. No. Tried tapping it. I tried using a tap and die set. The problem with we have these Chinese. These are the Chinese aftermarket replacement motors for the Steel 390 or 039 chainsaw. What had happened to this saw is it threw a ring, completely mashed this side, and you can see where the ring actually tore the piston. You can see the ring is broken right here. The ring actually broke into pieces. The ring cracked inside of the jug, in the piston seat. The broken part of the ring jammed into there's the transfer ports in here, your little channels that transfers gases from the crankcase up to you can see the transfers on the outside there. So we had pieces of ring that jammed in, pretty much destroyed the jug and piston anyway. So I ordered a Chinese replacement. I'm trying it because to get everything apart, it wasn't worth it to try to salvage anything. So I'm almost away from it. I'm almost done with struggling with nuts and bolts issues with this block, because if you see here, these are the actual bolts that I had to use to get them to come up to cover enough thread on here to bolt it in. I had to go to Tractor Supply and get these machine bolts, because they're the only thread that would mesh with the problem with these is the threads on this base plate are different from the threads on the OEM base plate. So not only I ordered a set of bolts OEM, these threads don't match. These bolts, the threads don't match. So there's problem number one with these Chinese, cheapy Chinese short block motors. But I finally got it in. I finally found bolts that would actually fit, and that were just long enough, not too long, so I didn't have to cut them. But you see, the bolts that they provide with the block are too short. They're that much too short because they didn't account for the case, the plastic case. When you mount, you're going to have the actual space. You're going to have that much space, more. These bolts actually topped out inside of the bottom of the jug. So there's problem number one, but we solved it. Now problem number two was our ground bolt. It's a little bolt that goes right in here. I tried using tap and die kit to chase those threads and take a selection of different pitch nuts or bolts. None of these work. They're all too big. They're all too big of a bolt for that little hole. So essentially what I had to do was sit here after I put the thread chaser in there, the tap, and I went real slow, and I went down, and I backed it off and went down again, backed it off. I did this several times, and the problem with this now is you don't want to strip out in the motor. And all this is, you don't want to strip out in the motor. All this is your ground lead from the motor to your coil. That's the only thing that we need that for. That's all that, and I would have just used, here I'm rewiring the thing because I've got so many. If I look at all this, I mean, I could use the old coil. There's no reason why I can't. All I have to do really is I could snip it here and just tap that other ground wire. I think I might do that actually, because this is an aftermarket coil. These aftermarket coils are cheap. We have it. We know we have it. We know it works. We know that this one works. This is the stock coil, and you can even see where the flywheel had hit it a couple times, or it had been damaged, but I mean, it was still working. The saw was running. So if I actually look at this, I'm not seeing, I thought I saw more damage. Well, there's a little bit of chafe there on our spark plug wire. But I don't know now. I don't really know, because even this end for the cutoff switch, the ground lead to the cutoff switch, is different. These are different ends. So there's a lot of small issues that could technically create bigger problems in the end. So I guess what I'm going to do, this was a 2-on-1 ground lead. I'm going to snip that right off if I can. I don't have my fancy wire dikes. They're here somewhere. I don't know where. Oh, there we go. We got it. Right, we're just going to, come on, pull off there. I guess. I thought I had it. Sorry, I keep going back and forth on the... I need these tools. Definitely need those two guys. Well, I don't need the adjuster yet. I might need it, I might not. I'm just trying to cut a wire. Get the old utility knife and dull the blade on the wire, which I hate doing. I hate wasting blades for stuff like that, but sometimes you have to do that. So now we have it so we can hook up here. Oh, the gray one was in there. The yellow one did not go there, because the yellow one needs to go here. And I'm just looking at the configuration on everything. It's hard enough, especially after months of not working on a particular saw. You open the box, and that's what you get, right? You open the box, and this is what you have. You have a whole bunch of fun stuff here. These are the OEM mounting bolts, which do not thread into this jug, which is a problem. And what's really weird here is, maybe because I got a short, I don't know why the one bolt on here. The other thing is you definitely want to make sure that every single one of these replacement bolts that you go and find, whatever you get, is the right length and the right size. Because if it's not, you might be coming up short. You don't want to come up too short. You can come up a little short. This is another mounting bolt. That's another motor mount bolt, I do believe. I could be wrong. What is that for? I can't remember. No, this is not motor mount. Yeah. Oh, we'll just wing it as we go. I believe these might be handle bolts. I can't remember exactly, but we'll find a place for them if they need to go on the saw when we are done. These are ground down. What the heck? I filed the sides of them to get clearance for something. Alright, put them aside. We'll figure it out. It's hard to remember all this stuff. And now I've got mix and match, because this saw was a nightmare. It was a nightmare to get. This is the anchor bolt for. This actually goes in for the bottom of the motor on the clutch side. It goes into the case. There's actually a part on the bottom case that threads into. That flange there, this threads into there through the saw, and that holds. That's a cool thing about these motors, is it's super strong, very strong. It's a nice mounting because these will vibrate loose as these 4-bolt motors. They can tend to vibrate loose, and they'll shake the case. They'll wear the case out. And then you have to replace the entire case, because the only thing that they have in these cases for motor mounts, it's a little metal sleeve that goes up in there. And once that gets a littlest bit worn, then all your tolerances, you're topping out. If the top of it gets worn, I'm calling this the top where the motor sits, then the motor is sitting crooked. And if one is off from the other, then your motor's never going to stay tight. It's always going to vibrate loose. Sometimes, and I've had even where those metal spacers in there actually bottom out or top out, whichever suits you better to understand it. They top out, meaning that or bottom out, and they will spin, which is not good. So we're going to put the old coil back in. And I think we're going to do it without putting the flywheel right back on just yet. And this is the fun of these saws, is remembering too your steps or your rhythm of things, where everything goes. Now, as far as I can remember, these were the mount bolts for the coils, because now we have, I've got a whole bunch of these. This is the weird thing about this saw, which I can't remember now. I've got a whole bunch of these, smaller, and then these are your normal case bolts for this saw. These go somewhere. I mean, I put them in the box when I took the saw apart, so I'm assuming that, all right, nice and smooth. I'm just pre-testing, making sure that all of these fit in nice and smooth. And this is the, I mean, unless you guys take things apart, usually when I take things apart, I leave it out and I'm going to put it right back together, so I can remember where everything goes most of the time. Now, with this one, that's not the case. Sometimes there will be different lengths of these, of this size, but I really don't see. So I'm going to assume that we have, that it's just your normal, any case bolt will work for your coil. We're going to take our little wire here, get all our wires and our bolts set up, and then bolt them in. It's putting the thing together is actually a pretty quick process. The problem is all the fussing around with stuff and making sure stuff fits and matching stuff up and getting stuff to making sure your bolts aren't tearing out. And the way that they have this coil mounted in the saw, there's no room up here for the wires. So it's a little difficult, and you may even want to use a hand tool. That's why I have the hand tool, because the hand tool is not going to strip stuff out. Usually, I mean, you can put a lot of pressure on this hand tool. Now, the problem here is I need to be able to, so that's the old coil. I need to be able to adjust the coil up and down once it's in. You guys know how to do a coil? Everybody seems to know how by now. It's an old trick. You just take an old business card. Alright, so that's tight. We'll get it loose. Alright, so there's nice and loose. Oh, we have Houston, we have a problem already. Everything's going in, but it's more about your stages of how you put things in, how you line things up. And this is becoming a strain on my life, because I want this saw back, even if it only lasts me another month or two with this Chinese aftermarket motor. I need to do some big cuts, and this is one of the bigger saws that I have right now, because I haven't needed a big saw for a long time. I used to have big saws, and it used to be important for me to have big saws. But it hasn't been that important. So I want to kink this a little bit. It kind of fits in there weird. And the problem with this, the problem with the aftermarket stuff is it doesn't all fit. So we're going to try. Let's see here. The two ends look the same size, but sometimes they're not. Sometimes they might be a different size, or you might have to find another another lead that will work. I guess we're just going to mash it in there. And this is the thing with this. It's a cheap saw. Bought it a few years ago, or last year or 2 years ago, whatever. It definitely did its job while I had it, for the time that I had it for. Now this lead has to stay tucked down behind. So I may, just to make things easy, you can always put your lead on this end, but you want to make sure, and they have that little space in there, a little tiny space. This, where's a pointer? This little nub here underneath that is a space, and you want to jam that in there, and try not to hurt your wire when you do it. But you want to push that in there because your flywheel spins tight to this. So you don't want your flywheel hitting this. You don't want your flywheel hitting your wire. It's such a tight tolerance, everything is. And we're just going to baby it in there. Because the threads are wrong, I'm trying to get that bolt in as far as it'll go, because it's not that I'm trying to get it super tight. I'm not worried about it coming loose as much as I want it flush. I want it flush to the block of the motor, so that the flywheel doesn't smack into it and cause problems. Because once we're together, I don't want to take this apart again for a little while. I want to get some cutting time out of this thing. So that will line up. It's just a little bit of messing around. It does line up. And we got a whole bunch of variables here, getting everything lined up. And when I go in with the I just use this to go quicker. I don't use it necessarily. I don't need the ratchet. I can use a hand tool to tighten everything. You don't need the ratchet to tighten things on a chainsaw. I just use it for speed more than anything, or convenience. It's more to speed things up and lessen the amount of this action, because as you do that enough, you're fatiguing your wrist. You're wearing your wrist out, and minimizing fatigue is kind of a good thing when you're building, and you're building fast, or you're trying to do many things at once in a given day. Especially as you get a little bit older. Now I'm using to push I just want to push the spark plug wire in. And this is a really kind of a bad setup. It's not really, it doesn't all line up real well, or real easy. It's not the best setup as far as getting all your wires in there. And so most of this, it's a lot of messing around. It's a whole lot of messing around. Now this lead here comes through. I'm thinking I need to, that lead comes through here. This wire lead, the two wires, get our air breather out of the way. These two guys comes through here, or maybe here. No, that's your breather hose, that's your fuel line. So yeah, these guys comes up through here. Sometimes there's a hole here, but it's just remembering all these things as you're putting it back together, what goes where. And this grommet here, they could have come out of the middle because this breather hose actually, this little breather hose, it is, no, it connects to the carb because we have a reservoir breather. That's right. One hose hooks here, the other hose hooks there. Alright, so we're okay there. So this hose has to come through that hole. It's just, I'm trying to remember all this stuff. Because it's been a while since I put this together and had it apart. This guy here, the leaf goes there, so all of these comes up through. Do we come up through or do we just plunk it down over it? I can't remember. Alright, and it's, you know, if you haven't done this in a long time, you forget how all these things, you want it to fit. All it's got to do is fit. If it fits and it locks in and everything is pretty self-governing as far as, see how easy that went in once I remembered it? Because this is the original coil, don't forget. So all of this, everything on here is original to the saw. So this round grommet had me fooled because that goes somewhere. You know what I mean? This is your chafe. Yeah, I've got the chafe spacer up a little high on this, but might be able to, that's what that is. There's two spacers on here and the chafe spacer a little bit high. I thought these wires had more wear and tear on them. I was going to replace them because of that, and because the end of that one broke when I took the saw apart and that little end fell off. This is that saw. I don't know if you guys saw the video about this. I bought it from a guy off Marketplace, and as usual, you get the cream of the crop on Marketplace, and they will sit and talk your ear off about how good they are at what they do and how they're an expert mechanic and all this, and they know all this and all that, and they basically are bullshit masters. They don't know anything, because he first told me, he said, well, I took the, where's that go? He said, well, I took the muffler off and looked inside the jug to see if there was scoring, and there's no scoring. It's perfect. It's a beautiful I'm like, first off, it's an old saw. It's not perfect. I can tell you that right now just by looking at it. The motor is not going to be in perfect shape. It's not going to be pristine. They never are. They get bypass. You get dirt that gets through there. You get fine sawdust. You get, even if you take care of your saws and you change your filters all the time, you're still going to end up incidentally getting stuff in the jug and the piston. I've only ever in my life seen one chainsaw motor that was old, like on an older saw. This is very important to get this seated in properly. You don't want to go past this point until you get this right. This is your boot for your intake, and you don't want to rip it. I've only ever one time seen a darn near perfect motor on an older saw, like 10-year older, even 3-year older. And it was a much older saw. It was over 10 or 15 years old when I bought it. It was a 90s 026 Pro, And it was the saw to have for many years for me. It was a great saw. I should have never sold it. But when you make decisions like that, you make them at the time that you have to make the decision. And if you're I was having a hard time at one point in my life, and I was building my new shop, which I'm in now, and I had to sell the saw at that point. I was broke as broke could be. And that's why I sold that saw. Do not tear this boot. If you're poking at it with a screwdriver, be very gentle. Only poke at the metal. I'm only getting in here on the very edge of the metal clamp, just to line everything up, and push down with my finger on the rubber just to make sure that everything's nice and pretty tight there. Pretty as in good looking, not as in pretty tight as in sort of tight. So our boot has to come up through here when we put this on. So we want these guys lined up, pre-lined up, nice and straight. The problem with all this is getting it nice and straight and everything tight and everything lined up perfect is I don't recall this being a very easy process. Get it as straight. I'm going to go basically look at my fins and just line it up with the two closest fins. Because with this there, you can't get in there to loosen or tighten that. Because this has got to be over that. How are you going to get in there? Because this is tight on there when you're hooking this back up. Right? So, how are you going to get in there? If you can make it so you can get in there and actually hit your ring clip with the screwdriver and adjust it, well then you're golden. Personally, I'm not that good of a mechanic to actually do those kind of things. It would make sense, wouldn't it? Now the problem is, well, we don't need to hook the flywheel up. See, the thing is preemptively I threw the flywheel on because I wanted to see how everything lined up. That was my main concern with the flywheel. I had to bolt it up and tighten it down in order to see how it fit. And then I had to take everything apart again. So even as I'm doing this, I'm stressing this rubber badly. That's not a good thing to do. Even as I'm sliding this thing around, I'm risking tearing the boot, which I don't feel good about. And normally these clips line right up on the boot where they're supposed to be, and they stay there. And that's why we're kind of I'm trying to get it back from where I had it without ripping the boot, because the ring is not moving. Ring clip. What if I bring a little bit more light into the room? Because the light's getting bad here. time of night where we're losing light on one end and we're trying to gain light on the other. So I really do want to get this saw together. I've really been procrastinating and slacking on it pretty bad. So now we have actual light. We can see what the heck we're doing. I want to line these guys up. I want to line these dimples up. The problem with this ring clip is it fits so tight on there, and then once everything's on there, it's loose, but it's just not sliding, and I don't want to cut the boot. As soon as you lose this boot, you're done. Your saw's not gonna, it's just gonna suck air into the boot, and it's gonna suck sawdust into there, and then you got major problems. Then you might as well just call it quits at that point. Go get a new jug and piston and be ready for a complete rebuild. So this guy here, get him off there. So, sorry, my big head gets in the way. I had this all slid down there. So we're kind of backwards here. And this is what I mean, the fiddling around, the farting around, the fighting with stuff. You want to get all your wires lined up, and you want them all going the right way. This wire's actually got to be inside of the spark plug wire. And we're backwards of that, and I can't find my pliers. So we want our spark plug wires. This is the kind of finicky, weird thing about how they have all this set up, that all of your ground leads for your shutoff switch have to go behind the spark plug wire. As far as I can see. And then it has to come back across. I don't know. I might be doing this all wrong. It might go here, but this is one of those things I can't remember. Want our squishy grommet in there to hold everything. It keeps them in place, and it keeps them from chafing, and it keeps them from moving around with all the vibration in the saw. So this is going to go here, that's going to go there. This guy goes on the outside. All right. Like snow. That's snagged on there. Right. A lot of snagging, a lot of fiddling back and forth, and you want it all to just lock in, like I said before, once you get it in place. This guy goes here comfortably, supposed to. And it should all just set up nicely. I don't know why it's not. And this is where there's a problem now that I need to figure out why it's not lining up properly. Because see, this is off center here. That should not be like that. This has to go in. In. There. But, I don't know why this isn't pushing down. You see how it's just not fitting right. There's a lot of resistance. And this is what I mean right here, guys, where there's just a lot of messing around that you have to do and figuring out why things are not. Maybe the plug wire does go the other way, because it fit fine with the plug wire the other way. But now, I'll put the plug wire back in the front. And this is why I never get these saws done, because you get to a point and you get to where, well, I gotta go do something else. You know, you just tell yourself, I've spent enough time on it, argued with it enough, and it's not gone in how I wanted it to. So I think what we're gonna do is guesswork here, because now we're getting where now we're messing all our wires around, and the wires are they're all getting out of line now, out of alignment. I don't know if that yellow wire has to go in behind everything, or I can't remember now at this point. I'm not the best at wiring. I could do a pretty good job of it if you just leave me enough room to make my own decisions with it, how I want it set up. But the way steel designs all this stuff, it's got to all line up. Just so, and this is another, oh, this can go right through there. I think that's what that does. I think, see, this isn't lining up now. Nothing is lining up here, and now it's getting a little bit frustrating, because it's all supposed to line up. This is supposed to go. This is all supposed to go right in tight to the saw. Last I knew. But it's supposed to not sit sideways here. Oh, I guess. I guess we're gonna have to say the boot is good enough, because I can't get in there. Some of these saws go together real finicky. They're really difficult to fix. Almost like you have to put everything together 5 times and then take it apart 5 times just to figure out the sequence of how everything goes back in. And you may be doing it right. You may know exactly what you're doing. You may have done this 100 times or 20 times before. But there could be just one little thing that's not exactly lined up the way that it usually lines up. And if that's the case, then you could be struggling with it for hours. And see, we have something stopping it. I'm going down here. I don't really understand why it's not. This is supposed to go over that clip. And this is the frustrating part right here. Because it doesn't. It's not going. I just had it in there. You guys saw me put it in, right? You saw me put it in right the first time. And I was like, there, that just goes like that. Bing! You know, like, I had it in there perfect the first time. Everything went right in. And it all lined up, and it was beautiful. And we were all happy at that point. Now, we're not happy because we're pinching our dang wires. I may just leave this out because I don't actually need this. This is the plastic housing. I mean, I can do it without it. Right now it's lining up perfect, but now I have my lead wires are all on the outside. And that's got me completely stumped because they need to come through this way, not that way. They need to, you know what I mean? Like, they need to be on the other side of this mess. And I can't remember how they went. And I'm about to just cut the dang plastic and make it go my way. If in doubt, if you do that, you can do that. Just make sure, even if you're pinching off, like I just pinched them off. I'm done messing with it. So that's the little bolts. That's our little bolts. There's 3 in here. Finally got it in. Everything is not lining up right. Story of my life. Story of my life. Misalignment. I'm misaligned. Can that be a new generational thing? Generation misalignment? The misaligned, oh, that's a bigger bolt. That's a body bolt. These 2 are little bolts. Alright, so we're just going to do that. It's not right. I don't think it's right. I mean, it's just pinching the wire. It's not really pinching it, but the other thing is there actually is more room in this little slot if we push it over, but it's just weird how it's set up so tight. I mean, that's good. It's not pinching it now. It's not really going to rub on stuff. So this is a bigger bolt for your pulley cover. So 2 little bolts. So we got 3 little bolts. I have still extra. We're finding out where the little bolts go back. There is, make sure you get this right. Do not screw this one up. This goes inside of here. Once you squeeze that through, this here would be for that. See that? So this goes on. This goes around that. That's going to make everything nice and tight. And it's off. I know it's not straight. Well, guess what we get to do again? We have to get that straight. We have an extra part. It does line up there, so that's good. So that's telling me something. You guys know what I'm saying? Like, that's telling me something. So I believe this goes there, or that goes there like that. Then your carb mounts to it. It's all backer plates and bracing stuff. It just takes time to get it right. This is where you have to take them apart. I mean, I've been waiting a long time to put this back together. So that's why now I'm like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to get it done. I'm just going to get it back together. And I only have to push this, just that much. Just that much. And the problem now is my plastic is there. Doesn't look straight. I'm going to say that it's straight now. And my other thing is that I do like to kind of be as much perfectionist as I can when putting things back together, because I'm not a great mechanic at stuff. I'm good with saws because I worked on them so much in my lifetime that eventually I had to get good at them. But when I was learning about saws, I wasn't good. I learned the hard way. I learned by ruining stuff. I learned by breaking stuff. I learned by tearing boots on the motors. I learned by shredding gear. I learned all the wrong ways, so because I just did that, I learned by taking stuff apart, putting it back together, taking it apart, putting it back together. I learned by years of mistakes and not knowing what I'm doing at the beginning and figuring it out as I went. So you don't want that extremely tight, because if this is too tight, squeezing on your air boot, it's going to rip it. So everything has its tolerances, everything has its limits with these as you're putting them together. The worst thing that happens is when it's back together and running and things seem okay, is that something comes loose. After you've taken it apart and put it back together 1,000 times, and then you're like, well, something came loose. Guess what we're doing? We're going back in and we're taking it all apart, and we're going to find what came loose. Because if you just rebuilt it, I mean, you just rebuilt the thing and everything seems fine. After you rebuilt it, it starts up fine, it runs fine for a while. So you really have to listen when you guys do a new saw. You really want to listen to everything, and you want to hear. I don't like how that's not centered, but it is what. Sorry, battery power and clips that break. These junky GoPro clips, they all fall apart. The tabs always break off them. So I just found my battery block that's been missing for a long time. I'm happy I found it. I can now charge batteries without having to have, I mean, I have two cameras. I always plug in one while the other's charging because they run out real quick. So the boot's in, the boot's tight, this is in, that's in, the bolts are tight. I'm just going through my inventory of things right now before I go on to the next step, which is heating up the stove. I just want to get that. I'm using that compressor in there because it's not as loud. So I want to get that fired up. So this goes while I'm doing, because I want to blow this out before I go ramming that in there and hooking everything up. So it's crooked, which is really weird. It's really weird because everything is supposed to be straight here. It's kind of eerie, ominous. I don't like it, but it's on there. It's on the lip. If it were crooked on the other side, it'd be going this other direction. It's not. Right, so this guy's gonna go in here. Just make sure I got everything. Make sure everything lines up. Right, this is how that's how you're when you start, that's run, and that's off. Alright. This got to pop out of there. This has to come back out. Alright. So everything's here. And we have, see, and the thing is too, with working on many things, many different saws, this should be, is that our choker? This choker, the choke guys usually go here. I think it goes here. They're different on these from the 250s. Oh, and this has the dinky pression. So I gotta drill a hole in my cover. Unless I can get to it through that side. Alright, I'll be right back. Gotta blow this out. Here we go. We are going for it. We are going to hook it back up. I just have to sit here and fiddle with it for a minute to remember exactly how everything goes. Been a while, guys. Been a minute. Might have to take the spark plug out. Then again. Right now. Yep, this is the real pain in the butt. This guy comes right up through here, so I think these wires actually do come through the middle here, and your impulse hose comes off the side, because if I look at all this, how this lines up, this is this is your throttle side. The choke and throttle. The choke is on the same side as the throttle. That's what I'm trying to remember with this. Is a different configuration than the other saws. That's what I'm trying to remember. Where the heck this guy goes? This goes into the back of the air filter. Yep, okay, so this goes here. That goes there, so that's all face down. This is face out. No. This is face out. This is the back. This is the front. It goes this way. Alright, so this goes on this way. Don't forget. Alright, so I'm just trying to figure out where my holes line up. Yep, so this is for... Yep, breather hose comes out this hole. Alright. That's all I'm trying to figure out right now. Because I have the breather hose and I have the fuel line here as I'm mashing all this back together. And this is essentially what you are doing as you are putting all of this back in. You're just mashing everything back in very gently and very carefully. So your wires feed through this. Because most saws you can put, that's why it had the round grommet. I knew it had the round grommet because it fed through one of these holes. Most saws you can put all this back together. You can actually put this cover back on most of the way and then put everything back together one by one, like on the 250s. I think 250s are so much easier than this saw. Like I could put this hose in after I get the cover on with the other saws, but here that's darn near impossible. So now you have to sit here and fight with it. I don't know if you guys are seeing it or not. What are you seeing? Are you seeing anything? Alright. So here we want to get this back, and yep, there we go. Alright, so that all we need to do is get it to that point. And I really wish I had my duckbill pliers for this, because that's the one pair of pliers for pulling that rubber snorkel. And I can't find them anywhere. I have no idea where they are. Not a clue. All my tools. The duckbill pliers are the best tool for it, because you can just grab it and pull it. Fortunately, I don't see them anywhere. So there's a notch for it down in there, and the carb's got to go over top of it. So it's all got to squeeze in there. It's all got to be in there, out of the way. No, this is for your wires here. Sorry if you can't really see what I'm doing. I'm just trying to route the wires without duckbills again. Duckbills. You've seen them in my other videos. I've talked about them in my other videos. The pair that I have are from like the 1940s. My great-grandmother gave me her paint set because she used to do a lot of oil paints, and those duckbill pliers were in their paint set, and I could never figure out why, but they are the single great-grandmother. Did I say that? Great-grandmother. She gave me her paint set. And I never knew why she had them, but I knew that they were the single most greatest tool that I would ever have for working on so many things. They're my favorite tool for so many things. And recently, I've been losing them. And I don't know why. I did press hard on that wire. I kind of chafed the side of it. I don't want to do that too often. I'm just trying to get these to push in. Seeing the thing I'm dealing with right now. It's my sleep schedule. Alright, so our tuner. Oh, this is what my brother was talking about, getting the... You got to get these tuners to... You got to get the plastic out of there. We're going to just deal with it for now because it was running. But he was like, I don't know how to do this. Usually, you just have to break the plastic out. However, that's in there. I don't know. I think that's what he did. He actually cut the aluminum away and broke the plastic out, or pulled the plastic out eventually. Was able to. Oh, before we do all this, do not forget, don't regret. You don't want to regret your moves here. Do not forget, don't regret. So you don't want to leave that loose. It's still loose. And it's not quite, remember, there. I just moved it. I just centered it on those pegs a little bit. And all I need to do to center it is push on it. See it moving? There. Alright, I don't know if you saw it move or not, but it's where it needs to be. We're going to tighten it up. But that's what I did there essentially, was I went too much in one direction with it, and then I went back. I pulled it back. Where the heck does our breather go? I mean, this setup on this saw is so annoying. Every single thing about it's like everything's together now. And now I do believe the breather goes here, but that makes next to no sense. It's like they're giving me a channel here to run the breather, but do you really want it inside there? Is that really where it goes? You see that? Yeah, it sits up here, That is dumb. I don't know, guys. I'm not gonna argue with it. It's not pinching the vent tube. It makes no sense to me why you would run that up next to the spark plug wire and put that near the spark plug. Maybe just because your air filter, the way everything lines up with it, I don't know. That's why I'm not a mechanic. Because I couldn't tell you. If you asked me about these things, I would say, I don't know. You tell me. How about you come up with a theory on it? How about you come up with an answer? And that'll be the answer. How's that? So now I'm trying to tighten this without poking a hole in the boot or shifting it too much. That's a real pain. Because you can't get to it on the other side at all. To push it or adjust it or center it. And these dang screwdrivers. You need to find the right one. The perfect one. Oh, here we go. How about this guy? So you need to find the perfect screwdriver for tightening that only sits in the screw and tightens the screw and doesn't push against it. You don't need to push in real hard. Because like I said, you don't need to over tighten that clamp. You want to get it snug. Because it's a clamp holding a rubber boot. It's most likely not going to come loose if it's on there snug enough. Because that rubber is going to push against it, expand, whatever. So there we're lined up. There we're in. It looks good. It feels okay. I'm not 1000% convinced that I'm doing it right, but it's in. It's going. Now, as far as asking me stuff about saws, advice about saws, I can tell you a lot about them. That doesn't make me a good saw mechanic. It makes me a guy who knows about saws. I know a crap load about saws. Just because of my years of using them, running them, fixing them, making them better, making them worse. All my years of mistakes and making up for my mistakes. That's why I know about saws. And I know a lot. I know a lot about a lot of things, but that doesn't make me a mechanic. It doesn't make me a technician. It makes me somebody who understands these things, understands what they need to exist in our world and work in our world. I don't know if this guy goes back on here like that. That doesn't make sense, because your carb, no. That doesn't. That's not for that. So I just screwed up and jammed that on there. Now it's going to be a pain to get off. I have no idea where it goes, guys. How's that? I don't think it goes anywhere. I don't think I need it. If it's not going to fit on there, see, my first indicator that it didn't go on there is that it doesn't line up, like it's caught now on that plastic shroud. It's unhappy. I'm bending it. I'm squishing it. I've got it going in all sorts of different directions. and it's not good. It's a mess. It's stuck. Oh, why do I do the things that I jammed it on there and I'm like, oh, hey, I think this goes there. No, it might go the other way. That might make sense, but it doesn't really make sense. It might go on there as a carb stopper, but I mean, is that it? Is it a carb stopper? Well, that's going to hold that ring in if it... We want to hold that ring in, ultimately. That compression ring. But see, it doesn't make sense because it's not lining up to go in there. This plastic... You guys know the difference between short block and long block, right? We've talked about this. Long block is that's your metal case motors. That's where the crank and the piston are part of the body of the saw. It's a split case. It's a metal case. And the jug mounts on top of that. It's not like this. The crank and piston, the entire assembly unit on this is separate from the case of the saw. Long block is like the steel 028 AV that I worked on. I don't know if I have video of me fixing that for you guys. But that one there needed a new top end, and I've been doing the cheap Chinese swaps on these just because these are cheap saws. I'm interested in trying the cheaper Chinese swaps on them because everybody's gotten into them at some point or another. I have tried the cheapy Chinese components. The carbs seem pretty good. Yeah, I gotta cut that because that's gonna press down on that decompression thing all the time. The carbs actually seem pretty good. Why don't we just do that now? I haven't had any problem with the carbs. I haven't had any problem with the Chinese carburetors. They work pretty good. They install easy. They're easy to adjust. They're like the old school style carb that you can adjust them fully. You can modify them a little bit to make them work to your liking if you need to. You can change the bore in them pretty easily. You can change piece parts with them. So we're just going to go in. I know. People are like, no! What are you doing? Oh my God, what are you doing? Yep, this is an 039 and we're doing this to it. This is old school. I just don't want it hitting that when I'm cutting into this. So where's the top of my blue thing? Are we there yet? Yeah, we're getting there. So, guys, don't get me wrong on this. Anytime you do something like this, we should actually so I think that's going to go about like that. Anytime you guys do stuff like this, you should actually cover up your muffler, your exhaust port. You should take it off and do it, but I couldn't actually get to it for the fit up. I didn't know exactly where it was going to be. That was the problem. I know, I'm a horrible person for doing that. That's a OEM 039, all of you religious types. Oh my God, what did you do? You're going to hate on me. I know you're going to say all kinds of bad things. So I didn't get anything in there. There, it'll stay popped. If I got to grind on it more, I think I will, because you're going to have movement. You're going to have movement there. I know, the saw gods are hating me now. The real saw enthusiasts. Oh my God, that's a 039 car. You're never going to find one of those again. Well, maybe not. I don't really care. It's done. I can keep going, get this thing back. That's why I choose the more affordable saws. I mean, the thing is, I got to blow all this out after I get things back together, because I'm not about to have all that plastic melting inside my freshly rebuilt saw. I know people are probably shaking their heads saying I'm stupid for doing it that way, but it's done. And it's not really going to hurt anything to do it that way, as far as I know right now. I've done it in the past many times. I hope I put the oiler in this thing. I don't even know. I don't even remember. We'll find out. We'll find out when we start her back up and give her a rip, right? So now I need bolts. Now we need bolts. Alright, so we went through a whole bunch of stuff on this thing, right? I have no idea where those longer bolts go or where they came from. There's two of them. Anybody want to tell me? That would be great. Be very helpful information, because I have no idea where they go or where they came from. And I'm afraid that I'm going to find out sometime. And I'm going to find out at the wrong time, as usual with these saws. It's like, oh, I think I got it all back together, and oh, it's good. Boy, it runs good, but there's something wrong here. And then one day you're like, oh, those longer bolts. I had longer bolts, didn't I? You could, I mean, yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? This is where I want a vise, because I can't find the hole in there. Now I'm moving the handle all around, and you know what might help? Maybe this is smaller screws here. So I think that's a flow. Yeah, that's your flow regulator thing. I forgot how to get this lined up to that one stupid bolt, unless it's in, but I screwed it up. Did I do it wrong? I'm sure there are better mechanics out there than me for doing these sort of things. Well, there we go. I see it now. I see it. So we put it in. I don't know, there's guns in that one. I don't want that one. Give me a nicer one. Give me the silver one. I'll take a silver one. I don't know what that's for. Don't you guys like the way I work on saws? I'm just like, I don't know. It fits. Put it in. It works. It holds it. Okay, so, we're starting to lose everything right off the edge of the table. Getting crazy now. Might have to grind that up a little bit more. See, and all these have caps, and that's one thing that I'm really bad at, or really good at, is never putting the caps back on, and then these rubber bumper parts pop out. The rubber on this side pops out. Wow. Yeah, and the thing is I've got more caps now. See, I've got saw parts mixed in this thing, which is really convenient. It's a food tray from takeout, and I don't like wasting. Or I don't like having a need that's not met. So I save a bunch of these food trays. Like you can see here, that's egg salad. And I like having all my stuff neatly put away in happy little containers. I don't know why this one's not going in. But it's not. Oh, it's really hard pushing back in. I really like having all my stuff in neat little happy containers. Alright, so we got throttle. We have a saw. Now, before we forget, while we're here, while we're thinking of it, this is the other thing with the 390s 039s. That's a brand new plug, so it's going to squish a little bit. Brand new plugs, the the metal washer on them needs a little bit of extra squish room, just squish down. There's a little bit of extraness there that you want to get into. All right, so now here put our, where is our notch? There's a keyway on here. We want that keyway to match up. Everything's not, it's not quite lining up exactly. That's good enough. There's plenty of oil in there in the jug. I put plenty of oil in there a while ago so that the jug can move up and down freely, unhindered, unencumbered, whatever floats your boat to say there. This is the goal for the night. Let's just get it thrown together and then see how wrong we are, see how far off everything is, see how crazy things get now. We see how many parts go flying when we go to start it up and give it that first turn, first breathe fire into it. I don't know, usually I put them back together pretty good. As far as all the important parts go, I usually get them back together pretty solid. That one needs a good torquing because that can pop loose, and then you're gonna have issues there. You're gonna have things banging around that you don't want banging around. There was a card in here. You guys know this trick? You've seen this one? The business. Why is that not moving? That was weird. It's just a lot of compression. Oh, here. You can do that. Ooh, there's no compression now. All right, so we go a little off, right? Just slide your business card in there. It's real simple. Slide the business card in there. This is your magneto. Turn the magnet lined up with the coil. Right? That's your magnet. That's called your magneto. This is the non-magneto side. This is the balance. So if you ever need, and you see, very important when I'm tightening the nut this way, I use the block, right? I use the end of the magneto or a block. This is pressing in on top. You got to get good purchase. Make sure you're on good purchase. Make sure you're not pressing in on top of a hose or anything important like that, which I was. So that was dumb. I wanted to go lower, so I was actually in. I should have used the light, but I don't think I heard it. That's my impulse hose. That's the little nib on the motor. I could have broken that. Stupid me. That's why I use the light. That's why we're going through this now. But always use the block this way. If you're turning it this way, don't break a fin. If you're turning it this way, going past the fins, you don't want to break fins. There's no point. There's no reason to break a fin. You can press on a fin if it's supported by a piece of plastic behind it. Just carefully find stopping points. There's other ways to do it. You can use a rope. Jam a piece of rope in there and in the jug, down in the jug. That's always been a great technique. That's always been one of my favorites. Now I'm just going to hand tighten. Hand tighten. Hand tighten. I don't want to blow these out. Coils come loose, so you want it snug enough that the coil's not going to come loose. I don't know why I tighten the spark plug. Because now I need to pull the spark plug out. Make sure that we got spark. Maybe I just won't. Maybe I just won't. Maybe I will just start the sucker. See if I can get it running. Because all that we have to do now is the muffler. Put this back on there. Rip cord, rip cord, rip cord. Rip cord. I don't like the fact that they call it a rip cord because everybody pulls on them so hard that they pretty much rip them right off of the saw. Which you don't really need to do. You guys do understand that starting a saw, if you watch me pull a saw, it looks like I'm pulling hard, but I'm not. I'm not actually pulling until it stops. I'm pulling quick. I want to pull quick, and it's not to do anything. You don't have to pull them real hard. You're pulling quick because as you pull quick, your carburetor is pulsing and it's pumping fuel. And also your you got a rattle in there somewhere. Did you guys break something? I don't know what's broken. Oh, it's in there. Because there's no fuel. The fuel's right here. GoPro's mounted to the fuel. But I'm not so much pulling quick because I have to. Because sometimes you see me and I pull the cord slowly. And I make sure I get it to burp. I get the saw to burp. So it's really by feel. When you pull on the saw, you can feel what's going on inside the motor. Remember this? All this crap. You want to get that out of there before you put your pulley back on. Let's do this not over the saw. How about that? I'm making a mess here all over my table. I don't have this compressor fired up to blow the table off with. But I do have this thing. I can do that. There. So it takes me, I've been thinking about getting this stupid saw back together for months. It's just motivation. It's really motivation, and I just, sometimes I have none, little to none. And especially when you get busy doing things where you know you're making money and you don't really you don't really do a lot much more. You don't really do much other stuff other than just go make money, because that's all you want it. You know, that's what you mostly need in life. Oh, that's why it was turning hard, because the brake was on. You know, you need money to pay bills and survive. So when you're out there working hard, making money, not getting your projects done, you're dreaming about getting this done. And even now, I feel like I should be out there making money, thinking, man, life's great now because I got that saw running. You know, that's what I'm looking forward to, is being back in the car, working my normal, whatever you call it, the normal flow of things. And I haven't taken a lot of time off this year, or this summer especially, for these sorts of things. So that's why I'm really trying to focus on them now. It's 3/8. Good. And that's good there. And I'm sorry if I'm not telling you guys everything that I'm doing. I'm going to put a bigger washer on just because it's a bigger saw. I have a bigger washer. Might as well put a bigger washer on the bigger saw if it fits. And here too, man, I miss my duck bills. Because they're flat on the end, they don't skate around on the top of what you just clip it and go. All right. So now we should be in business to have a running saw. And I don't really know. I'm not going to say. But I need to move that over, and I need to do this. And if this starts and runs, I will be very happy for tonight. Then I can go do other things. Yeah, that's, I think, what the rattling noise was. If I took a saw apart, it's always a good idea to make sure everything, not only there's a bunch of junk in there, not only that everything is hooked up, but that there isn't a bunch of crap in there. So I'm going to take this and blow it out. There's like big chunks of sawdust in there. So I feel much better about that. Shake the fuel up. Pour some in. You don't need to go all the way to a completely full tank. I'll leave a little bit of airspace in there, breathing room. I just want to put some oil. Might as well put both fluids in both ends if we're giving it a test run. Oh, it feels so good to have this done. This is that on my mind. It will feel so good to have this done. Been on my mind for a while. This is where I need to start doing things that I want that are on my mind to get done. Because this has been months. I could have taken a night like this at any time, months ago. So we got her fueled up. I like to do that. I like to get the fuel and the fluid in when I have a couple extra other things left to do, because if that's in, then I have a minute to let them sit. I can, if I got a bad line somewhere or a leak anywhere, most likely it's going to show up in the next 5 or 10 minutes. And I would rather that it show up in the next 5 or 10 minutes while I'm moving the saw around and hooking everything back up. This case has 3 bolts, or this muffler exhaust. Yes, I know, I just dropped it on the dirty floor. If you drop things on the dirty floor, you should blow them off clean, especially when getting around the exhaust. But you know, guys, sometimes you just gotta be daring and roll the dice on things. I know it's probably a stupid thing to do. Saw clamp would be awesome right now. And here is where pre-assembly, and it's the dumbest thing. It's that the first cover that we put on, that very first cover, the cover that's underneath everything else. Now, I got a story to tell you guys. I don't know if I told you this before, I don't know if you've seen the video. I did make a video about this. This saw, when I bought it, and I was telling you, there's that guy off of Facebook Marketplace, but he was a bullshitter. I knew he was a bullshitter because I knew he was a bullshitter firsthand, because first thing he says, I'm a certified steel tech. I'm like, dude, you're working out of your house. Like, you're literally, you're kind of like me. Like, your living room is your workshop. That's not a certified, no certified steel tech. You'd be working in a shop. Sorry to tell you, you can't be a certified steel tech and not work at a shop. You lose that credibility as soon as you're not working in a shop. I'm sorry to tell you. I've kind of been around the industry a long time. Kind of know these things. It's kind of second nature to me to pick up on bullcrap right away. I don't know why. That shorter one is shorter. I mean, I've been around a while. I'm not going to do the shorter one. How about that? Let's not even do it. Let's do the longer. Been around a while, so I kind of pick up on bullcrap. I'm a saw guy. I run saws. I depend on saws. I use saws. Always have, always will. I work on saws. I know some things. Don't know everything. Don't know a whole lot. Know a lot about what I don't know. Let's dry fit it. That's not going to work at all. That makes no sense. Dry fit it. That doesn't make no sense at all. That makes no sense at all. So I could actually take this muffler apart and drill the baffles out if I really wanted to, which I probably will at some point because there's a lot of restriction in there. I need a third stud, but I need a third stud long enough for what I'm doing. Anyway, I could tell that guy was full of crap because he told me that he took the muffler off of the saw to look inside the jug and piston and see, oh, the piston's perfect. How did you, and when he sold me the saw, get me here, okay? When he sold me the saw, the muffler was on the saw, everything was together. It looked like it was in fine shape. The muffler actually did not blow off of the saw and blow apart. The muffler was fine, but it was all cracked in pieces. It was just held together. And how did you get it back together? That was what I was wondering when I found this, because a couple days after having the saw, and you know, I just get them and I'm like, whatever, man. I paid for a used saw. I paid used saw price on a used saw. I'm just gonna run it. I'm not even gonna check. I don't care. You know, cheap saw, just go. So I ran it. I think I only ran it for like an hour, and the freaking muffler just blew right off it, and I'm like, what's going on here? So I come in to fix it. Now why are things not lining up? I can't get this. I'm coming up short on the bolts, like way short. But it just literally fell apart. I mean, the whole muffler was sitting on there jiggling around, and when I put it on the bench, the whole thing, you know, as soon as I took the, those are longer. These are longer, and there's only 2 of them. Jeez, what a pain. I don't know what I got going on here. I don't know what I got, guys. I just don't know. But the whole thing is, I put the saw on the bench and started taking it apart. Started taking the muffler off. I get the muffler off, and it literally just disintegrates in my hand. No, those are long enough. What the hell am I doing? It's just not going down. Yeah, I'm getting tired. But, I mean, literally, it was like that. It just falls out. Like, everything falls out in pieces. Little pieces. Right? All over the place. So I'm looking at, I'm going, there's no way that this guy could have magically put all this back together. I mean, it was cracked all over. It was all holding itself together. And it was probably one of those where he went to take one of the nuts off, because there's 3 of them on here, and that's why it all held together so well. Am I putting this on upside down? No. That's right. Looking at the old pattern on it. I put it on right the last time when I put it on. But he probably had taken a nut off and sawed the plate. Like, he could have doctored, you know, if it was still all held together by two other plates, you could have finagled it all back together. I'm doing the unorthodox. Oh God, he's tapping on the thing. He's gonna put all sorts of stuff down in the piston now. There goes that brand new piston. But I got to the point with it where it just fell apart. I mean, he could have like taken this plate off, but this plate too was all shattered. Like, I mean, the whole bottom of the plate was shattered. So he could have, I don't know what he probably didn't do anything at all, but he could have realized that was cracked all to hell and tightened it all down and just been like, okay, now I got to start it up and see if it all blows apart. And he started it up, because he was kind of nervous when I started it up in front of him. He like, and almost like he was trying to distract me and get me to, now that I think about it, you know, it was like, well, you see there, it's like he came over and shut it off, I think. He said, yeah, see there, and then, you know, he was in a hurry to get rid of me real quick. That's why. Because he's that kind of salesman. He's that kind of guy selling stuff that he just lies. He feels like he needs to lie to sell stuff. I mean, if you were selling me this and you told me, well, it's not without its issues, it's going to need work, I'd still be like, well, does it run? Can we fire it up? Let me start it up. And you're like, if you say I haven't done anything to it, I just checked it over and started it up, and you know, and when I got the saw, I kind of had my feelings that the muffler was loose as hell. It was going to blow off the saw. Now I can't find a socket that I need. This is the trouble with this whole operation now. Just trying to tighten a couple of nuts down. Find what I need. But if you had just been honest, I mean, all he had to say was, I didn't check nothing. This is what I'm asking for the saw. Did you start it? Yeah, I put gas in it. It runs. It's the only thing I checked. Okay. Let me start it. Let me hear it. I can tell you right away if it's going to not be worth even messing with. But some of them get that bad, where they're not even worth it in the end. It's like, yeah, it's a parts saw, I'll give you $50 for it, you know? And it don't matter if it runs or not, it matters. Oh, that was dumb. I broke one. Oh, I broke two. That's the problem with these stupid things. Because I don't have my socket to test with my hand, I can't test. I can't tighten. Well, I guess I could get the crescent wrench if I were smart about it. Let's try this again, guys. Got two more. We can do this. We're not dumb. Or are we? That's why right there. That's why right there. Why we don't use ratchets to retighten stuff like that, like going full to tight on them. That's why. Because you will break, especially older studs, older bolts, you will break them. Thankfully, and rather intelligently on my part, I did get an extra set of studs when I got the new muffler for this. I don't even think those shorter ones would be a problem. Oh, there's another stud. Where did this one come? That's the third one there. Alright, that's the old third one. So I have 3 olds and 3 news. We're all good. I'm not too bright. I'm making dumb mistakes now. I'm getting tired. I just want to start this thing and let it run for a little bit. Make sure that we got it running soft. That's all I want to do. Either want to go to bed or get food or go work and make some money. I don't really know. This was not my plans for today, but it's kind of that time of year where I'm not going by plans, and it's the end of summer, so everything is costing me a lot of money. Everything costs money now, and I'm trying to get things done. And I'm trying to dream about a better tomorrow. A better tomorrow. I'm trying to get to where I can have the shop open. Where I can have stuff for sale. I can be here selling stuff. Have people stop by. Buy carvings. That's the dream. And it's not the I want to make $1 million dream. That's the whole goal, and putting all my time and effort into all this. Just gently. That's tight. I'm trying not to bottom them out and break them again. Mufflers are hard. They're hard to, it's hard to, because everything doesn't fit together real well. It's always a pain because they heat and they expand. Now I don't want to punch my hand on that on the saw dogs. That would hurt. And if I get a loose muffler now, but the whole thing is that guy was full of crap. And it amazed me that that's how people think they have to sell stuff on Marketplace. Like they have to lie. They can't just tell you the truth. Like, I don't know about it. Alright, so very gently, we can even do that. Something stinks. I smell something. So there's already fuel in it, I believe. So you don't really need the decompressor on here. What's weird about this is everything is crooked, and I'm not sure why. Even how the spark plug hole lines up in this thing. Not really sure why. Doesn't make sense because I put it all back in good. You don't put the scrunch down in the hole, but you want to ground it off the motor because you want to see if you have spark here when you pull. Well, that could be a problem, guys. That could definitely be a problem. If I have no spark, which I don't right now, there is no spark. So now we have a no spark issue. And I knew it. I knew right away. Now the problem is, guess what I get to do? All that wiring, all that messing around with all them wires. This is where I'm not excited at all. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to hope it's not the wires. What I'm going to do, how are we doing on battery there? All right. We're going to get our block. We're going to see how quick we can do this too. New coil. Why is that so hard to pull off? There. It was on the other one. It's hard to get off. Yeah, let's tighten it back down because I got a jam on that. Freaking in for a second. Just because why do they make those so they are so tight on there? That's ridiculous. They don't have to be that tight on there. I'd rather have that wire fall off and have to deal with that than sit there and fight it. See, the problem now is, though, I don't know if that's a spin on and spin off. Spinacci. Spin off G. The problem is now we have to take all this apart. Dang. We got to do it. We got to take it all apart again. So you got to get that cover. This is what I don't like about this saw right here. Is you can't just pop the coil in and out and change it. You gotta take all this off. You gotta get back in there, take all this off, like literally take your handle apart, because of that stupid plastic shield. And this doesn't suit me, my needs. See, to get that to get the stupid plastic shield off, I actually got to get under this guy. So then I got to unbolt all this again. You see what I mean? This now has just become a real pain. I may just pull that plastic shield right out of there and not worry about it ever again. Because that's a complete pain in the butt. I should be able, with these saws, with the homeowner saw, that's why I don't like all these stupid plastic shields that they put, the way that they do them, is now to get that stupid shield off. Because this has to stay on there, or else I'm going to screw my carb up. Now this is a pain in the butt. Total pain in the butt. Can I do it without taking everything apart? Can I flex that enough? Yes, I can. But man, is that going to be a pain? It's going to be a pain putting it back in. It's a complete pain getting it out. What's even worse about it is all my dang wires are in there together because of that fitting. Oh, this sucks. So how to change a coil on this saw without having to fight all that. I think we're going to try figuring it out. But I don't think I'm going to have any luck here. What really sucks was that coil was working before the saw blew up, last I knew. So this is where I'm almost ready to say, screw the plastic shield, pull the plastic shield out, pull all these rubber grommets off. We don't need them because we keep our saws clean. I mean, if you keep your saws clean, you don't need all this stuff in there, really. I'm about to just cut it because you don't, the less of this stupid plastic you have everywhere, the less airflow restriction you have to the motor, the more the motor's going to cool, right? But that's the non-beauty. That's the no fun part of these homeowner saws. That's why they call it the homeowner saw, because you can't just quickly go and change one thing. If you bought a pro saw, or this is the advantage of the long block saws that most people go for, is they're easier to work on. And I'm just being really harsh with this right now, not even caring anymore whether I break it or not. So, we got the dang thing out. So, let's pull these guys right through the grommet. You don't really need the grommet. You don't really need, ow, the spark plug. You don't really need that stupid guard. I don't know if I hooked this up wrong. I could have hooked it up wrong, but I don't think I did. Now, Try this again. How you doing there, GoPro? Are you enjoying your night here watching this mess? So see guys, that's where I say